Hello everyone, welcome to my other video. So today I'm going to discuss about Redis and how to use it with Nodejs. So first understand what is Redis. Obviously I will not go deep for discussing Redis, but yes, I will give you a small overview of what is Redis and how it works. So Redis is an open source in-memory data structure store used as a database, cache and message broker. Now you may have question like, what is cache? So cache is a temporary storage component where the data is stored so that in future data can be served faster. Now let's see the workflow of Redis. So here you can see I have 4 components. So one is the client-side application. It can be your web application or mobile application. I have the server. I have one database that can be one SQL or NoSQL database. And finally, I have Redis. Now carefully check the workflow. So here I have this client-side application from where I am requesting some data from server. So basically I'm sending one request to my server. So after getting that request, server checks with Redis. Basically the server sends one request to Redis to check if the required data is available inside Redis or not. If the data is available inside Redis, Redis sends back to that sends the data back to the server, and server sends the data as response to the client-side application. In case the data is not available inside Redis, the Redis lets the server know that no, the data is not available. You can now request to the database. So then server just make some queries and get the data from the database and also sets that data into Redis so that I can fetch it in future. And then the server give the response back to the client-side application. Now let's understand the workflow more clearly. So for that I will create one Node.js application which will work with Redis. So at first you have to install Redis in your system. So as I'm using one Linux distro, I can easily install it from my terminal writing sudo apt space install space redis -server. And if I press enter, yeah, my installation is almost successful. Okay, so after the installation is successful, I can simply write sudo systemctl status and then Redis to check if my Redis server is running or not. So here you can see in the green text the status is showing as running. So in case you are using different OS, you can visit redis.io website and you can download the required setup files for installing Redis. Now getting back to our terminal, if you just install Redis server in your system, you can get access to Redis CLI. So if you write Redis CLI and press enter, you can see your Redis is running on localhost port 679. And if you just want to check if your Redis is performing correctly or not, you can write ping and it will respond as pong. Yeah, this is the one way you can check if your Redis is working perfectly or not. Now let's start creating one Node.js application. So for that, I'm creating one directory, writing mkdir space node redis and entering into that directory. I have to first initialize the node application. So for that I'm writing npm space init and you can keep pressing enter. So here in the author I'm just giving my channel name, and here after the initialization, so I have to install some dependencies. Those are Express and node fetch, and obviously Redis. So write npm space I and the dependency. And so after the installation, I'm writing code space dot to open VS Code in this directory. So inside VS Code, you have to first open this package.json file. So here I will change, or I can simply add one script, that is the start script, and I will write as node space index.js. So here I'm creating one file named index.js. So here in this file I will write my code. So at first I'm importing Express, as I'm going to create this as Express application, and then I will need the fetch API. So for that I'm importing node fetch, and I need Redis. So for that I'm importing it from Redis. Okay, now I'm defining the port as port 5000, and also the Redis port as 679, because the default port of Redis is 679. Now I will create one client for Redis. So I will write redis.create client, and I will pass the Redis port here. Yeah. Now I will create one instance of this Express application. Now I will make my application running to port 5000. So for that I'm writing app.listen, and I'll pass the port, and in callback I will simply log something like app listening on port, and then I'll pass the variable. Yeah. And then I will simply define one route, actually, to handle one GET request. So here what I will do, I will simply create one application from where I can get the number of repositories of any GitHub user. So I'm just taking the path as repos then slash username, where this username is your GitHub username, and then I'll provide one middleware, and then this get data function. And so here I'll first define this middleware. So I'm just commenting for the first time, like if you see it later you can easily understand this code. Okay, yeah, I'll surely update the code on GitHub and share the link on my description. So function cache, and it will accept request, response, and next. And from this request I will extract the username. So I'll write something like const username. I will extract it from request.params, and finally I will try to find if the data is available for this username or not inside Redis. So for that, client.get, and passing the username. In callback function I'll get error and data. So error I'll basically use to check if there is any error or not, and in data I will get the number of repositories, or you can say the full profile information from GitHub that provides. So if there is any error, I'm just simply throwing that error, and if there is data available, and I'm responding the data. So here I'm writing res.send, and here I will also need one function, that is set response. So I'll first create the set response. I will create this function later, but I will create this function for returning one HTML element which will replace this username and the number of repositories. So here I'm defining this set response method, which will take the username and the data, or you can say the repos. So the data is basically the number of repositories. So here I can return as h2 tag, and here as string template I'm defining username, has, and then the number of repos. So here I'm defining data and writing GitHub repos, so that it looks like something this user has, suppose 10 repos, 15 repos, something like that. Okay, so if there is no data available, then I can simply call this next, so that it goes to this get data function. Now I'm defining this get data function. So at first, again, I'm just commenting it why I'm using this function. So I'm just using this function to make request to GitHub for the first time. So actually, if the data is not available inside Redis, I'm calling this one. So write async function get repos or get data, and again it will accept request, response, and next. And here I will first provide this try catch block, and inside try logging something like fetching data. So whenever this function will be triggered, you can easily check if the control comes into this function or not. And then again I'm extracting the username from request.params, and then I can get the response from one actually publicly available API from GitHub. So writing await fetch, and here I will pass that API. So I'm writing https api.github.com/user/ and here you have to keep the username of that GitHub user, and yeah, you can get the data. Actually, you can get the full information of that user from this line. So response.json. And finally, if you just want to get the number of repos, you can write const repos equals to data dot public underscore repos. Yeah. Now you can set the this information of this particular user to Redis. So for that, I'm using client.setX. So here this setX is for setting the key for exact time. Like you can specify for how long you are going to store this value, or you can say this key. So I'm passing username and then 3600 seconds and the number of repos. And finally, I'm sending the response, calling this set response method, and I'm passing again username and the number of repos. Okay, now I have to handle the errors. So I'm defining the catch block. So inside this error will be there. So if I get any error, I will simply log that error in my terminal. And also I'll send request status as 500. So I'm writing res.status and passing 500 to it. Now save it. So I think everything is done now. Now going back to the terminal, I will write npm space start to start my server, and you can see on localhost port 3000 my server is running. So yeah, this route is not available. So if you just go to this index.js file, you can see the route is repos/username. So I'm just giving one username as actually my username I'm giving here, that is adavig. So yeah, you can see that it is showing adavig has 85 GitHub repos, and you can see that it is logging fetching data. That means it is actually entering into this get data method for the first time. So if you just go to the browser again and refresh the page, and if you check the console, there is no more fetching data text. So from where it is showing this information? So it is showing the information from this function, that is it is actually returning from Redis. Now I'm just trying it with different GitHub username. Let's say just put one random username ABC. So it is showing ABC has 13 GitHub repos, and you can see that in terminal fetching data is there, because this username is not available inside Redis. So it is entering into this get data function to get the data for the first time. And then when the data is already available, so if I just refresh that, you can see that no more fetching data. Okay, because this fetching data was earlier for previous two requests when I have no data inside my Redis. Okay, so now I think you have got some overview how you can use Redis with Node.js, and also what is Redis, the workflow of Redis. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. Please click on the subscribe and like button if you like this video. Thank you.